She burst through the wrong door and collided with a man who hadn't felt human touch in 20 years, a millionaire so haunted by loss that he'd built walls no one could penetrate. One mortifying mistake in a hotel bathroom would spark a connection neither of them saw coming, but when their story leaked to the press, the lies came fast and the betrayal cut deep. He'd have to choose between the safety of his isolation and the terrifying risk of loving again, while she'd discover that sometimes the person you're meant to save is actually saving you. What started as the most embarrassing moment of Janelle's life became the collision that would shatter 2 decades of grief, ignite a scandal that threatened to destroy them both, and prove that some love stories begin in the most unexpected places. Subscribe right now and comment where you're watching from, because this journey from a bathroom door to forever will remind you that second chances are always worth the risk. The rain came down hard against the tall windows of the Grand Coastal Hotel. Each drop raced down the glass like it was in a hurry to reach the ground. Inside, Janelle Carter was in a hurry too. Come on, she whispered to herself, speed walking down the long hallway. Her nurse's aide uniform was still damp from her dash from the parking lot. She'd already worked 8 hours at the nursing home that morning. Now she had 4 more hours to go at her second job. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. She pulled it out while walking. Maya wants to know if you're bringing ice cream home. Sophie Janelle smiled despite her exhaustion. Her daughter, 6 years old and already knew how to work the system through Auntie Sophie. Tell her maybe. If Mommy doesn't fall asleep standing up first. She shoved the phone back in her pocket and picked up her pace. The hotel manager hated when people were late. She was already 3 minutes behind schedule. The hallway seemed to go on forever. Marble floors, fancy paintings on the walls, gold-trimmed everything. This place screamed money, the kind of money Janelle would probably never see in her lifetime. Her bladder suddenly reminded her it existed. She'd been holding it since the nursing home. Not now, she muttered, but her body wasn't listening. She spotted a door ahead with a bathroom sign. Thank God. She could make a quick stop and still clock in on time. Janelle pushed through the door without really looking. Her mind was already on her checklist for the night. Restock the linens. Check room 412's minibar. Help with the late-night room service if needed. She took 2 steps inside before she realized something was very wrong. The bathroom was different, darker. And there was a man standing at the sink. A tall man, white, dark hair, expensive-looking suit jacket hung on a hook nearby. He was washing his hands, and when the door banged open, his head snapped up. Their eyes met in the mirror. Janelle's brain caught up with reality about 2 seconds too late. The urinals along the wall, the different smell, the complete and total absence of feminine products. Oh my God. The words fell out of her mouth. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. The man didn't say anything. He just stared at her. His eyes were grey, storm cloud grey, and they looked empty, like nobody had been home behind them for a very long time. Janelle stumbled backward. Her shoulder hit the doorframe. I thought this was... The women's room is next door. His voice was quiet, flat, like he was reading words off a card. Right. Yes, next door. I'm sorry. So sorry. Janelle felt her face burning. Her heart was hammering so hard she could hear it in her ears. I was rushing and I didn't look and... She was babbling. Stop babbling, she told herself. I have to go. She practically threw herself backward through the door. The hallway was still empty, thank God. Janelle pressed her back against the wall and tried to catch her breath. Her hands were shaking, of all the stupid, embarrassing things to do. Walk into the men's bathroom, crash in on some poor guy just trying to wash his hands. At her workplace, where she needed this job, where she couldn't afford to mess up. Smooth, Janelle, she whispered. Real smooth. She forced herself to move. The women's room was right there, just like he'd said. She ducked inside, used it quickly, and washed her hands while avoiding her own reflection in the mirror. She looked as mortified as she felt. When she finally made it to the service entrance to clock in, she was 5 minutes late. The manager gave her a look, but he didn't say anything. Small miracles. Janelle grabbed her cart and started her rounds, but the whole time she couldn't shake the memory of those grey eyes, empty eyes, sad eyes. She wondered what had happened to make a person look that way. Inside the men's room, Ethan Rose stood perfectly still. He stared at his reflection in the mirror. Water dripped from his fingers into the sink. His heart was beating faster than usual. That was unexpected. 20 years. It had been 20 years since he'd felt anything close to surprise. 20 years since his world had narrowed down to this. Wake up, work, avoid people, sleep, repeat. But just now, for maybe 5 seconds, something had shifted. That woman, bursting through the door like a hurricane, brown skin, natural hair pulled back in a ponytail, dark eyes wide with horror, real, genuine human embarrassment on her face. When was the last time someone had looked at him like that, like he was just a regular person, not Ethan Rowe, the reclusive millionaire, not the man with the tragic past, just some guy in a bathroom. He dried his hands slowly. His movements were careful, controlled. Everything he did was controlled these days. The door opened again and Thomas Hale walked in, his lawyer, one of maybe 3 people Ethan spoke to on a regular basis. "There you are," Thomas said. "The gala's about to start. Your mother's asking about you. I'll be out in a minute." Thomas studied him. "You okay? You look, I don't know, different." "I'm fine, if you say so." Thomas adjusted his tie in the mirror. "Big crowd tonight, lots of donors. Should be good for the foundation." Ethan nodded. The foundation, his mother's pet project, medical research funding. It was important work. He wrote the checks. He showed up when absolutely required. He did his part. But he felt nothing. Hadn't felt anything in 20 years, except maybe for just a moment standing in this bathroom 5 minutes ago. He shook his head. It was nothing. A random incident. Meaningless. "Let's go," he told Thomas. Janelle managed to avoid thinking about the bathroom incident for almost 2 whole hours. She focused on her work, restocking, cleaning, smiling at guests even though her feet hurt and her back ached. But then she turned a corner on the 3rd floor and almost ran into Sophie in the service hallway. "Girl," Sophie grabbed her arm, "I've been looking for you. Maya's fine, by the way, watching her tablet, probably rotting her brain, but whatever. She ate dinner." "Thank you." Janelle leaned against the wall. "You're a lifesaver." "I know. You can pay me back by telling me why you look like you've seen a ghost." Don't even try it. I've known you since 3rd grade." "Spill," Janelle sighed. "I walked into the men's bathroom by accident." Sophie's eyes went huge. Then she started laughing. "You did not." "Shh." Janelle glanced around, but the hallway was empty. "It's not funny. There was a guy in there." "Oh, this keeps getting better." "Sophie, I'm serious. What if he complains? What if I get written up? I can't afford to lose this job." Sophie's smile faded. She squeezed Janelle's shoulder. "Hey, it was an honest mistake. Anyone could have done it." "You were rushing, right?" "Yeah." "Then stop beating yourself up. I bet the guy's already forgotten about it." Janelle wanted to believe that, but those grey eyes kept floating back into her mind. Something about them had looked broken. "Come on," Sophie said. "Let's get back to work before they fire us both." 3 floors up, Ethan stood in the grand ballroom and wished he was anywhere else. The gala was in full swing. Hundreds of people in expensive clothes drinking expensive wine, talking about expensive things. Classical music played from somewhere. Chandeliers sparkled overhead. Ethan hated every second of it. His mother appeared at his elbow. Margaret Rowe, 68 years old and still sharper than most people half her age. "You're doing that thing again," she said quietly. "What thing?" "Standing in the corner like you're waiting for permission to leave." "I am waiting for permission to leave." His mother sighed. "Ethan, these people came here to support the foundation. The least you can do is pretend to be grateful." "I am grateful." "Then show it. Smile. Say hello. Make conversation." The idea of making conversation with strangers made Ethan's chest tight. But his mother was right. He owed her this much. He forced himself to move through the crowd, shaking hands, nodding at the right moments, saying, "Thank you for coming," over and over, until the words lost all meaning. Then he saw her, the woman from the bathroom. She was across the room near the service entrance. She had a tray in her hands and was heading toward the kitchen. Her uniform made her blend into the background, practically invisible to the partygoers. But Ethan saw her. He couldn't look away. She moved efficiently, gracefully, like someone who was used to working hard and didn't complain about it. When another server almost bumped into her, she sidestepped with a quick smile. Something in Ethan's chest tightened. "Thomas," he said when his lawyer appeared with champagne. "That woman, the one by the kitchen door, what's her name?" Thomas followed his gaze. "No idea. Why?" "Find out, and make sure no one files a complaint about her." "A complaint? What did she do?" "Nothing, just handle it." Thomas raised an eyebrow but nodded. "Okay, consider it handled." Ethan watched the woman disappear through the kitchen door. That tight feeling in his chest remained. For 20 years he'd felt nothing. Not joy, not pain, just a grey, empty flatness that stretched on and on. But tonight, something had flickered, just for a second. He didn't know what to do with that. Janelle got home at midnight. Sophie was asleep on the couch. Maya curled up next to her. The TV played an old movie on low volume. Janelle stood in the doorway for a moment, just looking at them. Her daughter, her best friend, the two most important people in her life. Sometimes the weight of being a single mother felt crushing, working 2 jobs, barely making rent, always tired, always worried, always wondering if she was doing enough. But then she looked at Maya, healthy, happy, loved, and knew it was worth it. Every single exhausting second. She gently shook Sophie awake. "Hey, I'm home." Sophie blinked up at her. "How was it?" "Long. Thank you for staying." "Anytime." Sophie stood, stretching. "Oh, hey, Maya wants pancakes in the morning. I told her to ask you, but she's persistent. Pancakes it is." Janelle walked Sophie to the door. "Drive safe." "Always do." After Sophie left, Janelle locked the door and went to check on Maya. Her daughter was still asleep on the couch, one arm thrown over her head. Janelle brushed a strand of hair from her face. "Come on, baby, let's get you to bed." Maya barely stirred as Janelle carried her down the short hallway to their shared bedroom. Their apartment was small, 1 bedroom, tiny kitchen, but it was theirs. Safe, clean, home. Janelle tucked Maya in and kissed her forehead. Then she changed into pajamas and collapsed onto her own bed. Her phone buzzed. A text from Sophie. "Seriously though, you okay?" Janelle thought about it. About the bathroom incident. About those sad grey eyes. About the weird, unsettled feeling that had followed her all night. "Yeah, I'm fine. Just tired. Get some sleep. Love you. Love you too." Janelle plugged in her phone and closed her eyes. Sleep came fast, but even in her dreams, she kept seeing those grey eyes staring back at her in the mirror. Empty, haunted, lost. The next morning, Janelle woke up to her phone ringing. She fumbled for it, squinting at the screen. Unknown number. "Hello? Is this Janelle Carter?" A woman's voice. Professional. Cold. "Yes? Who's this?" "This is Diane Fletcher, manager at the Grand Coastal Hotel. I need you to come in this morning. 9 o'clock. My office." Janelle's stomach dropped. Okay. Can I ask what this is about?" "We'll discuss it when you arrive. 9 o'clock. Don't be late." Click. Janelle stared at her phone. Her heart was pounding again. This was it. She was getting fired. Someone had complained about the bathroom thing. Maybe the man himself. Maybe he'd been offended and reported her, and now she was going to lose her job and... "Mommy?" Maya was awake, rubbing her eyes. "Morning, baby." Janelle forced a smile. "How about those pancakes?" She couldn't let Maya see her panic. Kids picked up on that stuff, so Janelle went through the motions, made breakfast, got Maya dressed, called Sophie to come watch her. "What's wrong?" Sophie asked the second she walked in. "The hotel called. They want to see me in the manager's office." "Oh no, the bathroom thing?" "Probably." "Want me to come with you?" Janelle shook her head. "I need you to stay with Maya. I'll be okay." She wasn't sure she believed that, but she kissed her daughter goodbye and headed out anyway. The drive to the hotel felt like it took forever and no time at all. Janelle's hands gripped the steering wheel too tight. She practiced what she'd say, how she'd apologize, how she'd beg for another chance. She needed this job. She couldn't afford to lose it. At 8:55, she walked through the hotel's back entrance. Her legs felt shaky. The walk to the manager's office seemed endless. Diane Fletcher sat behind her desk, looking at her computer. She was in her 50s, with short blonde hair and eyes that never seemed warm. "Sit," she said, not looking up. Janelle sat. She folded her hands in her lap to keep them from shaking. "I'll get straight to the point," Diane said, finally meeting her eyes. "There was an incident reported last night, involving you and a guest. I can explain, however." Diane held up one finger. "The guest in question spoke with me personally this morning. He made it very clear that you did nothing wrong. In fact, he insisted we take no action against you whatsoever." Janelle blinked. "What?" "Mr. Rowe himself called me, said it was a simple misunderstanding and that you handled it with professionalism. His words, not mine." "Mr. Rowe?" The name sounded familiar, like she should know it. Diane's expression softened slightly. "Ethan Rowe, the hotel's largest investor. When he calls, we listen." The man from the bathroom. He'd protected her. "Oh," Janelle said quietly. I didn't know." "Well, now you do. Consider this a warning, but not a write-up. Be more careful in the future, Carter. You're dismissed." Janelle stood on shaky legs. Thank you. She walked out of the office in a daze. Her job was safe. She wasn't fired. And it was because of him. The sad man with the grey eyes who she'd embarrassed in the bathroom. He'd saved her job. Why would he do that? That evening, Janelle couldn't stop thinking about it. She went through her shift at the nursing home on autopilot, helped Mrs. Patterson with her dinner, changed Mr. Lee's bedding, smiled and nodded at the other nurses. But her mind was somewhere else. Ethan Rowe. She'd looked him up on her phone during her break. The articles painted a picture of a man who'd basically disappeared from public life 20 years ago, some tragedy involving his fiancée. After that, he'd become a ghost, rich, powerful, but invisible. Why would a man like that care about saving the job of a random woman who'd burst into his bathroom? It didn't make sense, unless maybe he was just a decent person. Maybe beneath all that money and tragedy, he was someone who didn't want to see an innocent person get hurt. The thought made something warm bloom in Janelle's chest. By the time her shift ended, she'd made a decision. She was going to thank him. Properly. In person. It was the right thing to do. Sophie thought she was crazy when Janelle told her the plan. "You're going to just show up at a millionaire's hotel suite?" Sophie asked, eyes wide. "Girl, are you hearing yourself? I need to thank him, Sophie. He saved my job. Send a card, flowers, something normal." But Janelle shook her head. "No, this needs to be in person. He did something really kind for me. I want him to know I appreciate it." Sophie sighed. "You're too good for this world, you know that?" Maybe. Or maybe Janelle just understood what it meant to be treated with unexpected kindness. In her life, those moments were rare, precious, worth acknowledging. The next day, she put on her best dress, which wasn't saying much, but it was clean and made her feel a little more confident, and drove to the hotel on her day off. Getting his suite number was easier than she'd expected. One of the front desk clerks owed her a favor. He gave her the information with a wink and told her not to get caught. Janelle rode the elevator to the top floor. Her heart hammered the entire way up. The hallway was quiet. Expensive carpet muffled her footsteps. The numbers on the doors climbed higher and higher until she found herself standing outside the suite at the very end. She raised her hand to knock, hesitated. What was she doing? This was crazy. She should turn around, leave, forget the whole thing. But then she remembered her daughter's face that morning, remembered how close she'd come to losing everything, remembered that someone, this stranger, had chosen to help her when he didn't have to. Janelle knocked before she could change her mind. Footsteps from inside. The door opened. Ethan Rowe stood there in jeans and a simple gray t-shirt. No expensive suit this time, just normal clothes. His dark hair was slightly messy. Those gray eyes met hers, and for a second, something like surprise flickered across his face. "Hi," Janelle said. Her voice came out steadier than she felt. "I'm Janelle Carter. We met in the bathroom 2 nights ago." He didn't say anything, just looked at her. Janelle pushed forward. "I wanted to thank you for what you did, for protecting my job. I really, really needed this job, and you didn't have to help me, but you did. So, thank you." The silence stretched. Ethan's expression was unreadable. Then finally he spoke. "You're welcome." His voice was quiet, careful, like he wasn't used to talking to people. "Can I ask why?" Janelle said. "I mean, why you helped me?" Ethan was quiet for a long moment. Then he stepped back slightly. "Would you like to come in?" Every safety rule Janelle had ever learned screamed at her to say no. Don't go into a strange man's hotel room, especially not alone. Especially not someone rich and powerful who could do whatever he wanted. But something in his eyes made her trust him, that same brokenness she'd seen in the bathroom. This wasn't a man who wanted to hurt anyone. This was a man who looked like he was barely holding himself together. "Okay," she said. She stepped inside. The suite was huge. That was Janelle's first thought. Bigger than her entire apartment. Floor-to-ceiling windows showed the ocean stretching out forever. The furniture looked expensive but cold. Everything was perfect. Too perfect. Like nobody actually lived here. Ethan closed the door behind her. He stood there for a moment, hands in his pockets, looking uncomfortable in his own space. "Would you like something to drink?" he asked. "Water? Coffee?" "Water would be nice. Thank you." He disappeared into the kitchen area. Janelle walked slowly toward the windows. The view was breathtaking. Waves crashed against the shore far below. Seagulls circled in the gray sky. But the room itself felt empty. No personal touches, no photos, no books lying around. Nothing that said a real person spent time here. It made her sad. Ethan returned with 2 glasses of water. He handed her one, careful not to let their fingers touch. "You have questions," he said. It wasn't really a question. Janelle nodded. "Why did you help me? You don't know me. You didn't deserve to lose your job over an honest mistake. But you don't know that it was honest. I could have been lying." Something flickered in his eyes, almost like amusement. "Were you?" "No, but you didn't know that." Ethan was quiet for a moment. He took a sip of water. "When you walked into that bathroom, you looked genuinely mortified. People can't fake that kind of embarrassment. And when the manager told me she was planning to fire you, it seemed wrong." "So you're just a good person." He made a sound that might have been a laugh, but there was no joy in it. "I wouldn't say that." Janelle studied him. He stood stiffly, like he wasn't sure what to do with his body. Like being this close to another person made him nervous. "Can I ask you something else?" she said. "You can ask. I might not answer." "Why are you staying in a hotel? I looked you up. You own a house here. A big one, from what I read." Ethan's jaw tightened. "I don't like being in that house alone. Too many memories." The sadness in his voice was so deep it made Janelle's chest hurt. She wanted to ask more, wanted to understand, but she could see the walls going up around him. "I'm sorry," she said softly, "for whatever happened to you." His eyes met hers. For just a second, she saw straight through to the pain underneath, raw and old, and never properly healed. "Thank you," he said. They stood there in silence. It should have been awkward, two strangers in a hotel room, not really knowing what to say. But somehow it wasn't. The quiet felt peaceful, safe. "I should go," Janelle said finally. "I just wanted to say thank you. In person. You did something really kind for me and my daughter." "You have a daughter?" "Maya. She's 6. Something shifted in Ethan's expression. Softened, just slightly. "That must be nice, having someone." The loneliness in those words hit Janelle hard. When was the last time this man had really talked to someone? Really connected? "It is," she said gently. "Most days, even when it's hard." Ethan nodded. He walked her to the door. As she was about to leave, he spoke again. "I haven't touched a woman in 2 decades." The words came out quiet, almost like he hadn't meant to say them out loud. Janelle turned back. "What?" Ethan's face was carefully blank. "You asked why I helped you. Maybe part of it was that you reminded me I'm still capable of feeling something. Anything. Even just surprise at someone bursting through a door." The honesty in his voice made Janelle's throat tight. She didn't know what to say. "How do you respond to that kind of confession?" 20 years is a long time," she said quietly. "Yes, it is. Maybe," she hesitated, "maybe it doesn't have to be that way forever." Their eyes held. Something passed between them. Understanding, maybe. Recognition. 2 people who'd both been hurt by life in different ways. "Maybe," Ethan said, but he didn't sound convinced. Janelle left the suite feeling strange, unsettled, like she'd just seen something she wasn't supposed to see. Like this man had opened a door inside himself, just a crack, and she'd glimpsed the darkness underneath. She wanted to help him, wanted to pull him back into the light, but she barely knew him, and she had her own life to worry about, her own problems. Still, as she rode the elevator down, she couldn't stop thinking about those sad grey eyes. Sophie wouldn't stop talking about it. "Let me get this straight," she said the next day. "They were at the playground watching Maya on the swings. You went to a Millionaire's hotel room, alone, and he told you he hasn't touched a woman in 20 years. That's not the important part. That's absolutely the important part. Girl, what is happening?" Janelle sighed. "Nothing is happening." I thanked him. We talked for a few minutes. "That's it." "Uh-huh. And now you can't stop thinking about him." "I never said that." "You didn't have to. I can see it on your face." Janelle watched Maya pump her legs, going higher and higher. "He's so sad, Sophie. Like, deep down, sad. Broken sad. It made me want to fix it." "You can't fix people, Nell. You know that." "I know. But maybe I could be his friend. Everyone needs friends." Sophie gave her a long look. "Just be careful, okay? I don't want to see you get hurt." "I won't get hurt. I barely know the man." But even as she said it, Janelle knew it wasn't entirely true. Something had shifted when Ethan opened that door, when he'd looked at her with those haunted eyes and admitted his loneliness. She'd felt it. A connection. Fragile and unexpected, but real. "Mommy!" Maya called from the swings. "Watch me jump!" "Baby, no!" Too late. Maya launched herself off the swing at the top of the arc. For one terrifying second, she was airborne. Then she landed in the sand, stumbling but laughing. "Did you see I flew?" Janelle's heart slowly returned to normal speed. "I saw, please don't do that again." But it was fun. Fun and dangerous aren't the same thing. Maya skipped over to them, sandy and grinning. Auntie Sophie, did you see me fly? I did, you're very brave. Also very good at giving your mama heart attacks. Maya giggled. Then she looked at Janelle with those two smart eyes. Mommy, why do you look sad? I'm not sad, baby. Yes, you are. You get that face when you're thinking about sad things. Sophie raised her eyebrows. Kids got you figured out. Janelle pulled Maya into a hug. I'm okay, sweet girl. Promise. But Maya was right. Janelle was thinking about sad things. About a man standing alone in a too-empty hotel suite, carrying 20 years of grief like a weight he couldn't put down. She wondered if he was okay, if he had anyone who checked on him, anyone who cared. Probably not. That kind of loneliness didn't come from being surrounded by people who cared. The photo appeared online 2 days later. Janelle was at work, the nursing home, not the hotel, when Sophie called. Don't freak out, Sophie said, which was never a good way to start a conversation. What happened? Someone took a picture of you leaving Ethan Rowe's hotel suite. It's on one of those gossip sites. Local section. Janelle's stomach dropped. What? It's just a blurry hallway shot. You can barely see your face, but the caption says, Mystery Woman Visits Reclusive Millionaire. People are talking, Nell. Talking about what? I was just thanking him. I know that, you know that, but the internet doesn't care about facts. Janelle found a quiet corner and pulled up the site on her phone. There it was, a grainy photo of her walking down the hallway, clearly leaving Ethan's suite. The article was short, but suggestive. Speculation about who she was. Whether Ethan Rowe was finally ending his 20-year isolation. The comments were worse. Some people were curious, others were cruel. Several called her a gold digger. One suggested she was probably lying about being just a friend. Janelle felt sick. What do I do? She asked Sophie. Nothing, don't respond, don't engage, let it blow over. But what if people at work see it? Then you tell them the truth. You went to thank him. That's it. End of story. But Janelle knew it wouldn't be that simple. Small hotels were like small towns. Gossip spread fast, and she was already the subject of bathroom incident rumors. This would only make things worse. That night, Janelle lay awake in bed, staring at the ceiling. Maya was asleep beside her, one small hand curled against Janelle's arm. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Hello? Ms. Carter, this is Diane Fletcher. I need to speak with you tomorrow morning. 8 o'clock, my office. Not again. What's this about? We'll discuss it tomorrow. 8 o'clock. The line went dead. Janelle closed her eyes. She knew exactly what this was about. The photo. The rumors. The hotel protecting its reputation by getting rid of the problem employee. She was going to lose her job after all. This time, when Janelle walked into Diane Fletcher's office, she was angry. Not just scared, angry. Before you say anything, Janelle said, still standing, I did nothing wrong. I went to thank a guest for helping me, that's it. Nothing inappropriate happened. If people want to make it into something it's not, that's on them, not me. Diane blinked, clearly surprised by the outburst. Ms. Carter, I'm a single mother working 2 jobs to support my daughter. I don't have time for drama or gossip. I came here to work and I do my job well. You know I do. Miss Carter, please sit down. Janelle sat, but she kept her shoulders straight, her chin up. She wouldn't be pushed around anymore. Diane sighed. The board saw the photo. They're concerned about appearances. They want you suspended while we investigate. Investigate what? There's nothing to investigate. I agree with you. Diane's voice was quiet. But it's out of my hands. Janelle felt tears burning behind her eyes. She wouldn't cry. Not here. Not now. Please, she said. I need this job. My daughter needs... The office door opened. Janelle turned, expecting security to escort her out. Instead, Ethan Rowe walked in. He looked different than he had in the hotel suite. More formal, colder. The expression on his face made Diane sit up straighter in her chair. Mr. Rowe, Diane said, I wasn't expecting... Ms. Carter did nothing wrong. His voice was flat, final. The photo was taken without her knowledge or consent. She came to my suite to express gratitude for a professional courtesy. That's all. Anyone suggesting otherwise is spreading lies. The board? I'll speak to the board myself. Ethan's grey eyes were like stone. Ms. Carter will not be suspended. She will not be punished for doing nothing wrong. Is that clear? Diane swallowed. Yes, Mr. Rowe. Perfectly clear. Good. He turned and walked out without another word. Just like that. No hesitation, no doubt. Janelle sat frozen in her chair. He'd done it again. Saved her. Protected her. Why? Well, Diane said after a long moment, I guess that's settled. You can go back to work, Carter. Janelle stood on shaky legs. Thank you. She hurried out of the office and down the hallway. She had to catch him, had to understand why he kept doing this. Ethan was waiting by the elevator. His hands were in his pockets. He looked tired. Mr. Rowe! He turned. Ms. Carter. Why? She reached him, slightly out of breath. Why would you risk your name for mine? You don't owe me anything. You didn't deserve this. But people are talking. About you. About us. Doesn't that bother you? Something flickered in his eyes. Pain, maybe. Or resignation. People have been talking about me for 20 years. I stopped caring what they said a long time ago. Still, you didn't have to. Yes, I did. He met her gaze directly. You came to my door to say thank you. A simple act of kindness. And because of that, you were being punished. That's not right. I won't let that happen. The elevator dinged. The doors opened. Ethan stepped inside. Wait, Janelle said. Can I do something for you to say thank you? He looked at her. Really looked at her. Like he was trying to figure out if she was real. I don't need anything, he said quietly. The elevator doors started to close. Janelle put her hand out, stopping them. Everyone needs something, she said. Ethan was silent for a long moment. Then, so quietly she almost didn't hear it, I need to remember how to be human again. The doors closed. He was gone. Janelle stood in the empty hallway, her heart pounding. Those words, that raw, devastating honesty. She thought about his empty hotel suite, his careful distance, 20 years without touching another person, 20 years of just existing, not living. She thought about Maya, about the joy her daughter brought to every day, the laughter, the warmth, the life. Maybe that's what Ethan needed. Not romance, not a relationship, just life, human connection. A reminder that the world could still be good. Janelle made a decision. The proposal came from Thomas Hale 3 days later. He showed up at Janelle's apartment on a Saturday morning, looking uncomfortable in his expensive suit. Miss Carter, he said when she opened the door. I'm Thomas Hale, Mr. Rowe's attorney. May I come in? Janelle hesitated. Then she remembered Sophie was inside with Maya, so she wasn't alone. Okay, but just for a minute. Thomas sat on the edge of her worn couch. Maya peeked around the corner, curious. Sophie stood in the kitchen doorway with her arms crossed. Mr. Rowe has a proposal, Thomas said. His mother is recovering from a hip replacement. She needs live-in care for the next few months. He'd like to hire you as her aide. Janelle blinked. What? The position comes with full salary, benefits, and room and board at his estate. You'd be caring for Mrs. Rowe during her recovery, physical therapy assistance, medication management, daily living support, standard nursing aid duties. Why me? Thomas adjusted his tie. Honestly, I asked him the same thing. He said you were qualified and trustworthy. I have another job, and I can't just leave my daughter. The position includes accommodations for your daughter. There's plenty of space at the estate. Mr. Rowe was very clear that your family situation should not be an obstacle. Janelle's head was spinning. This is crazy. Is it the bathroom man? Maya asked, popping fully into view. Mommy, is it? Thomas looked confused. What? Nothing, Janelle said quickly. She turned to Sophie. What do you think? Sophie came over and sat beside her. It's a lot of money, Nell, and you'd be helping someone who needs it. Plus, it gets you out of the hotel gossip for a while. That was true. The rumors hadn't died down. If anything, they'd gotten worse. Other employees whispered when she walked by. Guests stared, and this job would pay more than both her current jobs combined. What about my apartment? Janelle asked Thomas. You'd keep it, of course. This is temporary employment, 3 to 4 months at most. Janelle looked at Maya. Her daughter was practically bouncing with excitement at the idea of living in a mansion. Then she thought about Ethan, alone in that big house, drowning in memories and silence. Maybe they could help each other. Maybe this was a chance for both of them to heal. Okay, Janelle said, I'll do it. Thomas smiled. Excellent. I'll have the contracts drawn up. You can start next week. After he left, Sophie grabbed Janelle's shoulders. Are you sure about this? No, but when am I ever sure about anything? Fair point. Maya climbed into Janelle's lap. Mommy, are we really going to live in a big house? For a little while, baby. Just while I help someone's grandma get better. Will the bathroom man be there? Janelle smiled despite her nerves. Yeah, sweet girl, he'll be there. Good, I want to meet him. So did Janelle, the real him, not the reclusive millionaire or the tragic figure from the newspapers, just the man underneath all that pain. The man who'd said he needed to remember how to be human again. Maybe she could help with that. Maybe they both needed this chance, or maybe she was making a huge mistake. Either way, it was too late to back out now. 1 week later, Janelle and Maya pulled up to Ethan Rowe's estate in her old Honda. The car made concerning noises as it climbed the long driveway. "Whoa," Maya breathed, pressed against the window. "It's like a castle." It wasn't quite a castle, but it was close. 3 stories of stone and glass, perched on a cliff overlooking the ocean. Beautiful and imposing and somehow lonely, despite its size. Janelle parked near the front entrance. Her hands were shaking slightly as she turned off the engine. "Ready, baby?" "Ready." They walked to the front door. Before Janelle could knock, it opened. Ethan stood there in jeans and a dark blue button-down shirt. His hair was slightly damp, like he'd just showered. Those grey eyes met hers, and something flickered in them. Relief, maybe. "Miss Carter. Maya, welcome." "Hi," Maya said brightly. "You have a really big house." The corner of Ethan's mouth twitched, almost a smile. "Thank you. Would you like to see inside?" "Yes, please." Ethan stepped back, letting them enter. The foyer was huge, high ceilings, a grand staircase, everything decorated in cool, muted tones. Beautiful, but cold, like the hotel suite. "Your room is upstairs," Ethan said. "I can show you—" "Can I see the ocean first?" Maya asked. Ethan looked down at her. Something in his face softened. "Of course. This way." He led them through the house. Every room they passed was immaculate, perfect, untouched, until they reached the back. Floor-to-ceiling windows showed the ocean stretching to the horizon. A deck ran the length of the house. The sound of waves was constant, soothing. Maya pressed her face to the glass. "It's so pretty." "It is," Ethan agreed quietly. Janelle watched him. He stood apart from them, hands in his pockets again, that careful distance. But his eyes kept drifting to Maya, watching her joy with something that looked almost like hunger. "Thank you," Janelle said, "for this opportunity. I know it's unusual. My mother needs help. You need work. It's practical." But Janelle didn't think that was the whole truth. She thought maybe Ethan needed something too, needed noise and life and laughter in this too quiet house. "Where is Mrs. Rowe?" she asked. "Resting upstairs. I'll introduce you after you've settled in." He showed them to their room on the 2nd floor. It was bigger than Janelle's entire apartment. 2 beds, a private bathroom, a sitting area by the window. "This is too much," Janelle said. "It's just a room. A room bigger than where we live." Ethan looked uncomfortable. "If it's not suitable." "No. I mean, it's perfect. It's just a lot." Maya was already jumping on one of the beds. "Mommy, look how high I can bounce." "Maya Grace Carter, you stop that right now." But Janelle was smiling, and when she glanced at Ethan, she saw that almost smile again. "I'll let you unpack," he said. "Lunch is at noon. I'll see you then." He left quickly, like he wasn't sure how long he could handle being around people. Janelle sat on the bed and looked around. What had she gotten herself into? "Mommy," Maya said, climbing into her lap, "I like him. He has sad eyes, but I think he's nice." "Yeah, baby, I think so too." Through the window, Janelle could see the ocean. Waves crashed against rocks. Seagulls circled overhead. The world felt bigger here, more open. Maybe that's what they all needed. Space to breathe, room to heal, a chance to start over. Lunch was awkward. They sat at a long dining table that could have seated 20 people. Ethan at one end, Janelle and Maya halfway down. Mrs. Rowe hadn't joined them yet. She was still resting. A woman in her 50s brought out sandwiches and fruit. She smiled at Maya but didn't say much. "That's Helen," Ethan said. "She comes in 3 times a week to cook and clean." "Nice to meet you," Janelle said. Helen nodded and disappeared back into the kitchen. The silence stretched. Maya kicked her feet under the table, humming quietly. Ethan picked at his sandwich but barely ate. Janelle tried to think of something to say. "The house is beautiful," she finally offered. "Thank you." More silence. "How long have you lived here?" 20 years. His voice was flat. "It was supposed to be. It doesn't matter." Janelle understood. This house was supposed to be for him and someone else. Someone who never got to live here. "Can I go look at the ocean after lunch?" Maya asked. Ethan glanced at her. "If your mother says it's okay." "Please, Mommy." "We'll see, baby. Eat your sandwich first." Maya took a huge bite, chipmunk cheeking it. Ethan watched her with that same hungry expression, like he was memorizing what normal family life looked like. After lunch, Janelle asked to meet Mrs. Rowe. Ethan led her upstairs to a bedroom on the second floor. He knocked softly before opening the door. "Mother, your aide is here." The woman in the bed looked nothing like Janelle expected. Margaret Rowe was small and elegant, even in a nightgown. Her white hair was perfectly styled. Her eyes were sharp and intelligent. "Well, Mrs. Rowe said, looking Janelle up and down, "you're younger than I thought you'd be." "I'm qualified, Ma'am. I've been a nurse's aide for 7 years. "I'm sure you are. My son is many things, but careless isn't one of them." She shifted in bed and winced. "How much did he tell you about my condition?" "Hip replacement, 6 weeks post-op. You need help with physical therapy exercises and daily activities." That's the medical version. The real version is I'm stubborn and impatient and I hate being helpless. Mrs. Rowe smiled. "We'll either get along wonderfully or drive each other crazy." Janelle found herself smiling back. Hopefully the first one. "Is that your daughter I heard downstairs? The one singing?" "Yes, ma'am. Maya, she's 6. I hope that's okay." Mr. Hale said, "It's more than okay. This house needs young voices in it." Mrs. Rowe looked at her son, still standing in the doorway. "Doesn't it, Ethan?" He didn't answer, just shifted his weight uncomfortably. "You can go now," Mrs. Rowe told him. "Janelle and I need to talk, woman to woman." Ethan left without argument. Once the door closed, Mrs. Rowe's expression turned serious. "My son is broken," she said quietly. "Has been for 20 years. I've tried everything to help him. Therapy, medication, time. Nothing works. He's chosen to lock himself away from the world." Janelle didn't know what to say. "I'm sorry." "Don't be sorry, just be patient with him. He's forgotten how to be around people. It makes him seem cold, but he's not. He's just scared." "Scared of what?" "Of losing someone again. Of caring and having it ripped away." Mrs. Rowe reached for Janelle's hand. "You seem like a good person. Kind. My son needs kind people in his life, even if he doesn't think he deserves them." The words settled heavy in Janelle's chest. She thought about Ethan standing alone in that hotel suite. Standing apart at lunch, always watching from a distance. "I'll take good care of you," Janelle said. "Both of you." Mrs. Rowe squeezed her hand. "I believe you will." The days fell into a rhythm. Mornings, Janelle helped Mrs. Rowe with exercises. The older woman was tough. She pushed through pain without complaining, determined to heal fast. They talked while they worked. About everything and nothing. Mrs. Rowe told stories about Ethan as a child, bright and curious and full of life. "He was going to be an architect," she said one morning. "Had his whole future planned. Then Sarah died and everything stopped." "Sarah was his fiancée?" "Yes. They were planning the wedding when the accident happened. After that, Ethan just disappeared into himself, sold his dreams, sold everything except this house and his money." Mrs. Rowe's eyes were sad. "He's been dying slowly for 20 years. Just doesn't know it yet." Afternoons, Janelle tried to give Ethan space. But Maya had other ideas. The little girl was fascinated by him. She'd leave drawings outside his study door, pictures of the ocean, of seagulls, of a stick figure, family holding hands. At first, Ethan ignored them. Then one day, Janelle found him in the hallway, holding one of Maya's drawings. He was staring at it like it was something precious and breakable. "She has talent," he said quietly when he noticed Janelle watching. "She loves to draw. Gets frustrated because she can't make things look exactly how she wants. That's the hardest part of art, the gap between vision and execution." He carefully placed the drawing back down. Sarah used to say that. It was the first time he'd said her name out loud, the first crack in the wall around his grief. "She was an artist?" Janelle asked gently. "Yes, sculptor mostly, but she drew too, constantly, in the margins of everything." His voice was distant, lost in memory. "This house was supposed to have a studio for her. Top floor, natural light. She picked out the space herself. Does it still exist?" "The studio?" "Yes, exactly as she left it." He looked at Janelle. "Would you like to see it?" She nodded. "If you want to show me." He led her upstairs to the 3rd floor. The hallway was darker up here, less maintained. Ethan stopped outside a door at the end. "I haven't been in here in years," he admitted. "We don't have to." "No, I want to." He opened the door. The studio was like stepping into a time capsule. Dust covered everything, but underneath Janelle could see the space Sarah had created. Shelves lined with clay sculptures, a work table covered in sketches, windows looking out over the ocean. It was beautiful and heartbreaking. Ethan stood in the middle of the room, barely breathing. I couldn't change it, couldn't move anything. It felt like erasing her. Janelle walked slowly around the space. The sculptures were incredible, human figures caught in moments of joy, sorrow, movement. Each one told a story. She was really talented, Janelle said. She was. Everyone said so. Ethan touched one of the sculptures gently. She died before she could finish her first exhibition. All of this, it was just going to be the beginning. The grief in his voice made Janelle's throat tight. 20 years, and it still hurt him this much. Ethan, she said softly, can I suggest something? What? This room is beautiful, but it's also a tomb. Sarah wouldn't want that. She was an artist. Artists create life, movement, change. What are you saying? Janelle took a breath. What if we turned this into a space for Maya? For your mother's recovery activities, art therapy, music, light and laughter. We'd keep Sarah's work, honor it. But we'd also let the room live again. Ethan was quiet for a long time. Janelle thought maybe she'd pushed too hard. Crossed a line. Then he said, she would have liked that. Sarah. She always said art was meant to be shared, to bring joy. So we can do it? Yes. The word came out rough, like it hurt. But slowly. I need time. Of course. Whatever you need. They started the next day. Just small things. Opening windows, dusting, bringing in fresh flowers. Maya helped, chattering the whole time about what colors they should paint and where they should put things. Ethan watched from the doorway, didn't participate, but didn't leave either. After a few days, Mrs. Rowe joined them. She sat in a comfortable chair and watched Maya dance around the room, making up songs. This is good, she told Ethan quietly. Change is good. He didn't respond, just kept watching Maya with that complicated expression on his face. One evening, after Maya was asleep, Janelle found Ethan standing at the window in the studio. The sun was setting over the ocean, painting everything gold and pink. Thank you, he said without turning around, for suggesting this, for bringing life back into this room. You're welcome. I've been thinking about what you said, at the hotel, about everyone needing something. He finally looked at her. You were right. I need this. Need to remember what it feels like to be around people who are living, actually living. Janelle moved to stand beside him, not too close, respecting his space. It's hard, isn't it? Letting people in. Terrifying, he admitted. Every moment I'm waiting for it to hurt again, for someone to be taken away. That's not living, Ethan. That's just existing. I know. His voice was barely a whisper, but I don't know how to do anything else anymore. They stood in silence, watching the sunset. Janelle wanted to reach for his hand, to offer comfort, but she knew he wasn't ready for that. Maybe he'd never be ready. Still, small steps. That's what healing was. Small steps forward, even when every instinct said to run back. The photo appeared on a Tuesday afternoon. Janelle was cleaning one of the shelves when a small frame fell. She caught it, and the glass cracked slightly. When she turned it over, she found herself staring at a picture of a young woman. Sarah. It had to be. She had blonde hair and green eyes, and a smile that lit up her whole face. Beautiful, vibrant, full of life. But that's not what made Janelle freeze. She knew this woman, not as Sarah, as patient 14B, 7 years ago, when Janelle had just started working in hospice care. A young woman in the final stages of cancer. Janelle had been assigned to her for 3 weeks before the end. She remembered sitting beside the bed in those last days, holding a hand that was already more bone than flesh, listening to fragmented stories about art and love, and a man with sad grey eyes. Tell him to live, the woman had whispered near the end. Tell him not to waste his life being scared. Janelle had promised, but she'd never known who the man was, never known his name, until now. Her hands shook as she set the photo down. This couldn't be a coincidence. Ethan's fiancée, the woman Janelle had comforted as she died. What were the odds? Everything okay up here? Janelle spun around. Ethan stood in the doorway, concern on his face. Fine, she said quickly. Too quickly. Just dropped something. The frame cracked a little. I'm sorry. He came over and picked up the photo. His fingers traced the crack in the glass. It's just a frame, it doesn't matter. But his voice said it mattered very much. I should go check on Maya, Janelle said. She needed to leave, needed space to think. Janelle, Ethan's voice stopped her. Is something wrong? You look upset. No, I'm fine. Really. She fled before he could ask anything else. That night, Janelle lay awake while Maya slept beside her. Her mind wouldn't stop racing. She should tell him, should admit the connection. It was the right thing to do. But what if it hurt him? What if knowing that Janelle had been there at the end, that she'd failed to save Sarah, made everything worse? What if he sent them away? Janelle needed this job, needed the money, and more than that, she'd started to care about Mrs. Rowe's recovery, about this sad, beautiful house, about Ethan himself. She didn't want to leave, so she made a choice. She wouldn't tell him. Not yet. Maybe not ever. It was 7 years ago. What good would it do to bring it up now? But the guilt sat heavy in her chest, and over the next few days, she found it harder to meet Ethan's eyes. He noticed. Of course he noticed. "You've been avoiding me," Ethan said one afternoon. They were in the garden where Mrs. Rowe was doing walking exercises. "I haven't." "You have. Ever since last Tuesday. Did I do something wrong?" "No, not at all." "Then what is it?" Janelle focused on helping Mrs. Rowe around the path. "I'm just tired working a lot, that's all." But Ethan wasn't convinced. She could see it in his face. The suspicion, the hurt, the walls going back up. Mrs. Rowe, never one to miss anything, looked between them. "Whatever this is, talk about it. Don't let things fester." "There's nothing to talk about," Janelle insisted. But there was, and it was eating her alive. 2 days later, Ethan found the hospice record. Janelle came downstairs and found him in his study, staring at his computer screen. On it was an old employment verification form, her work history, including her 3 years at Coastal Regional Hospice, the same hospice where Sarah had died. "You were there," Ethan said. His voice was cold, flat. "You worked there when Sarah died." Janelle's heart dropped. "Ethan, did you know? When you came to my hotel room, when you took this job, did you know who I was?" "Not at first, I swear. I didn't make the connection until I saw her photo." He stood up. The rage on his face made her step back. "And you said nothing. You kept this secret. Let me trust you. Let my mother trust you. While the whole time, you knew. I didn't want to hurt you." "Hurt me?" He laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You used this. Used Sarah's death to manipulate your way into my life. Into my home." "That's not true. I would never—" "Get out." The words hit like a slap. "What?" "Get out of my house. Take your daughter and leave tonight." "Ethan, please, let me explain." "There's nothing to explain. You lied. You kept secrets. Just like—" He stopped, shook his head. "I should have known better. I should have stayed alone." Tears burned down Janelle's cheeks. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I just didn't want to cause you more pain. Sarah told me at the end. She told me to tell you to live, to not waste your life being scared. I didn't know who you were then, but when I figured it out, I thought maybe I could help you. Maybe that's why I found you again." Ethan's face was stone. "Don't use Sarah's memory to justify your lies. Pack your things. Be gone by morning." He walked past her and out of the room. A minute later, she heard his car start, drive away. Janelle sank to the floor, sobbing. She'd ruined everything. Ruined the one chance she had to make a difference, to help someone who needed it, to maybe find something good for herself and Maya. Gone. All of it gone. Mrs. Rowe found her 20 minutes later, still on the floor. "Oh, honey." The older woman lowered herself carefully to sit beside Janelle. "What happened?" Janelle told her everything. The hospice, Sarah's last words, the secret, Ethan's rage. Mrs. Rowe listened quietly. Then she sighed. "My son is an idiot. He has every right to be angry. Angry, yes, but not cruel. You made a mistake. You should have told him sooner. But your heart was in the right place." She patted Janelle's hand. "Give him time, he'll realize that. He told me to leave. He says a lot of things when he's scared. Doesn't mean he means them." But Janelle couldn't take that chance. She went upstairs and started packing. Maya woke up confused and upset. "Why are we leaving? I like it here." "I know, baby, but we have to go." "Did we do something wrong?" "No, Mommy did. And now we have to deal with the consequences." By the time they carried their bags downstairs, it was past midnight. Mrs. Rowe was waiting in the foyer, leaning on her cane. "You don't have to do this," she said. "Yes, I do. I'm sorry I let you down." "You didn't let me down. You helped me more in these few weeks than anyone has in months." Mrs. Rowe pulled Janelle into a hug. "Take care of yourself, and that beautiful daughter of yours. Thank you for everything." They drove away from the house in silence. Maya cried quietly in the back seat. Janelle's hands gripped the steering wheel so tight they ached. She'd lost everything. The job, the money. Worse than that, she'd lost the chance to help Ethan find his way back to living. She'd failed him, just like she'd failed Sarah. Back at their apartment, everything felt smaller, darker, wrong. Sophie came over as soon as Janelle called. She held Janelle while she cried, made tea, put Maya to bed. "What am I going to do?" Janelle asked. "I need work, need money, and now both jobs know about the scandal. Nobody's going to hire me. We'll figure it out, we always do." But Janelle wasn't so sure. This felt different, bigger, like she'd broken something that couldn't be fixed. 3 days passed. Janelle barely left the apartment. She sent out job applications but got no responses. The money from Ethan's job would last maybe 2 months. After that, she couldn't think about after that. On the 4th night, Maya got sick. It started with a slight fever. Janelle gave her medicine and put her to bed, but by morning Maya was burning up. Her temperature was 104. She was barely conscious. "Baby, wake up. Come on, sweet girl. Wake up." Maya's eyes fluttered open. "Mommy, I don't feel good." "I know. We're going to the hospital, okay?" Sophie drove them. Janelle sat in the back, holding Maya against her chest. Her daughter was so hot, too hot, and her breathing sounded wrong. At the ER, they took Maya back immediately. Janelle tried to follow, but a nurse stopped her. "We need to examine her first. You can come in soon." "But she's scared. She needs me. We'll take good care of her, I promise." Janelle sank into a waiting room chair. Sophie sat beside her, holding her hand. "She'll be okay," Sophie said. "Maya's strong. What if she's not? What if I lose her?" The words came out broken. "I can't lose her, Sophie. She's everything. You won't. You won't." But Janelle had learned the hard way that the world didn't care about what you couldn't handle. Bad things happened anyway. Loss happened anyway. An hour passed, then 2. Nobody came to update her. Janelle was about to storm back through those doors when she heard a familiar voice. "Miss Carter." She turned. Ethan stood there, slightly out of breath. His hair was messy, his clothes rumpled, like he'd dressed in a hurry. "What are you doing here?" Her voice came out sharper than she intended. "My mother called, said Maya was sick. I came as soon as I heard. You don't need to be here." "I know." He moved closer. "But I wanted to be." Janelle shook her head. "I don't understand you. You threw me out, told me I lied, and now you're here. I was wrong." The words seemed to cost him. "I let my fear talk, my trauma. I accused you of things you didn't do, and I'm sorry." "Sorry doesn't—" "Miss Carter?" A doctor appeared. "Your daughter is stable. We've got her fever down. It looks like a severe viral infection. We're giving her fluids and antibiotics. She should be fine." The relief hit Janelle so hard she almost fell. Ethan caught her elbow, steadying her. "Can I see her?" Janelle asked. "Of course. This way." Maya was in a bed, hooked up to IVs, but her eyes were open. When she saw Janelle, she reached out. "Mommy." Janelle rushed over and took her hand. "I'm here, baby. I'm right here. I was scared, I know, but you're going to be okay. The doctors are taking good care of you." Maya's eyes drifted past Janelle. "You came," she whispered. Janelle turned. Ethan stood in the doorway, looking uncertain. "Hi, Maya," he said quietly. "Hi." Maya smiled weakly. "Did you bring any drawings? The walls here are boring." Something in Ethan's face cracked. He came over to the bed, hesitated. Then, very gently, he touched Maya's hand, his first real touch in 20 years. "I didn't bring drawings," he said, "but maybe tomorrow we can make some together. Promise?" "Promise." Maya's eyes closed. Within seconds, she was asleep. Janelle looked up at Ethan. Tears were running down his face. Silent, unstoppable. "I'm sorry," he said again, "for everything. You were right, about all of it. I've been dead for 20 years, scared to live, scared to feel. But you and Maya, you made me remember what it was like to be alive, and that terrified me. So when I found out about the hospice, I used it as an excuse to push you away, to prove I was right to stay alone." "Ethan, let me finish, please." He wiped his eyes. "Sarah would have liked you, would have loved what you did with her studio, and those words she said about telling me to live. She said the same thing to me the day before she died. I just never listened. Until now." Janelle didn't know what to say. The honesty in his voice, the raw pain and hope mixed together. "I don't expect you to forgive me," Ethan continued. "But please, come back, let me make this right, let me help you, both of you. I don't need your money. It's not about money. It's about—" He struggled for words. "It's about being the person Sarah wanted me to be, the person you've been trying to help me remember I could be. Please, let me try." Janelle looked at her daughter, small and fragile in the hospital bed, then at Ethan. This broken man who'd finally taken a step toward healing. Maybe they both deserved a second chance. "Okay," she said quietly. "We can try." Ethan's smile was tentative, fragile, but real. For the first time in 20 years, genuinely real. Maya stayed in the hospital for 2 days. Ethan stayed the entire time. He didn't hover, didn't get in the way. He just stayed. Brought coffee for Janelle. Read to Maya when she was awake. Sat quietly when she slept. Sophie watched him with suspicious eyes. "I don't trust him yet," she told Janelle. "He hurt you." "I know. But people make mistakes. He's trying to fix his. Just be careful." But Janelle was past careful. Something had shifted in that hospital room. When Ethan touched Maya's hand and cried, when he finally admitted the truth about his fear, he was broken, but he was trying to heal, and maybe that was enough. On the morning Maya was discharged, Ethan helped carry her to the car. The little girl was weak but smiling. "Can we go back to the big house?" Maya asked. "I miss the ocean." Janelle looked at Ethan. He nodded. "Yeah, baby, we can go back." Sophie pulled Janelle aside before they left. "You sure about this?" "No, but I'm doing it anyway." "That's either really brave or really stupid. Maybe both." Sophie hugged her tight. "Call me if you need anything. And I mean anything." "I will, promise." The drive back to the estate was quiet. Maya dozed in the back seat. Ethan kept his eyes on the road. Janelle watched the ocean appear and disappear through the trees. This felt like stepping off a cliff. No safety net, just faith that something would catch her. Mrs. Rowe was waiting at the door when they arrived. She pulled Janelle into a fierce hug. "Welcome home," she whispered. Home. The word settled warm in Janelle's chest. The next few weeks were different. Better. Ethan stopped keeping his distance. He joined them for meals, helped Maya with her drawings. Even laughed occasionally. Rusty and uncertain but real. One afternoon Janelle found him in the studio. He was looking at Sarah's sculptures with sad but peaceful eyes. "I talked to her," he said quietly. "Last night. Told her about you and Maya. About trying to live again." "What did she say?" "Nothing, but I could imagine it. She'd tell me to stop being an idiot, to let myself be happy." He turned to Janelle. "That's what you've been trying to tell me all along, isn't it?" "Yeah, I guess so. I'm sorry it took me so long to listen." They worked together that afternoon, organizing Sarah's art, making space for new things while honoring the old. It felt right, like they were building something together. That evening, they all had dinner on the back deck. The sun was setting. Maya chattered about her day. Mrs. Rowe teased Ethan about his cooking attempts. It felt like family, felt like home. After Maya was asleep, Janelle found Ethan standing at the railing watching the waves. "Thank you," she said, moving beside him, "for giving us another chance. I should be thanking you. You didn't give up on me, even when I gave you every reason to. Everyone deserves a second chance." "Do they?" His voice was soft. "Even people who've wasted 20 years being scared? Especially them." He turned to face her. They were close, closer than they'd ever been. Janelle could see the grey in his eyes, the fear, the hope. "I want to try," Ethan said. "To really try, to live, to feel, to—" He hesitated. "To not be so alone anymore." Janelle's heart was pounding. "You don't have to be alone. Not if you don't want to be. What if I mess it up? What if I hurt you again? Then we'll figure it out. Together." Slowly, carefully, Ethan reached for her hand. His fingers trembled as they touched hers. 20 years since he'd done this. 20 years of avoiding human contact. But he didn't pull away. Neither did Janelle. They stood there, hands linked, watching the ocean turn silver in the moonlight. It wasn't everything, but it was a start. Thomas Hale noticed the changes in Ethan, and he didn't like them. "You're making a mistake," Thomas said one afternoon. He'd come by to discuss some business matters. "Getting too attached to these people. They're not these people. They're Janelle and Maya." "Exactly. A single mother and her kid. You barely know them." Ethan's jaw tightened. "I know enough. Do you? Do you know what they really want? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like they're taking advantage of your loneliness." "Get out." Thomas blinked. "What? Get out of my house now." "Ethan, I'm trying to protect you." "I don't need protection. Not anymore. And definitely not from you." Thomas left, angry. Janelle watched from the second-floor window as his car peeled out of the driveway. She had a bad feeling about this. She was right. 3 days later, the story broke. Janelle was helping Mrs. Rowe with her exercises when her phone started buzzing. Text after text, all from Sophie. "Have you seen the news? Nell, call me right now. Oh God, they're saying awful things." Janelle pulled up the article with shaking hands. The headline made her stomach drop. "Millionaire's caregiver lover Single mom or schemer? Below it was a photo, her and Ethan on the deck holding hands. Someone had taken it from a distance, made it look intimate, romantic. Wrong. The article was worse. It painted Janelle as a gold digger, suggested she'd planned the whole thing, used her daughter to manipulate a vulnerable man, even brought up the bathroom incident, twisting it into something sordid. No, Janelle whispered. No, no, no. Mrs. Rowe took the phone from her hands, read the article. Her face went pale. That bastard. Thomas did this. How do you know? Because my son fired him. And Thomas doesn't handle rejection well. Janelle's phone rang. The hotel manager. She answered with trembling hands. Ms. Carter, I'm calling to inform you that your employment has been suspended pending investigation. Investigation into what? I didn't do anything wrong. The board feels your relationship with Mr. Rowe creates a conflict of interest. We can't be associated with this kind of publicity. There is no relationship. We're just... But the line was already dead. Janelle sank onto the floor. Everything was falling apart again. Her reputation, her job, everything. And Maya. God. Maya would be bullied at school. Kids could be cruel. They'd hear the gossip, see the article. I have to leave, Janelle said. I have to take Maya and go, before this gets worse. Don't you dare, Mrs. Rowe's voice was sharp. Don't you dare let them win. They've already won. Look at this. She gestured at her phone. Nobody's going to believe the truth now. Then we make them believe it. We fight back. But Janelle was too tired to fight. She'd been fighting her whole life, working 2 jobs, raising Maya alone, always struggling, always one step behind. She couldn't do it anymore. That afternoon, she went to find Ethan. He was in his study, staring at his computer. She could see the article on his screen. I'm sorry, she said. I'm so sorry. I never wanted this for you. It's not your fault. But his voice was distant, cold, the walls going back up. Ethan, maybe it's better this way. Cleaner. You and Maya should go back to your lives. I'll stay in mine. It's safer. The words hit like a punch. You're really going to do this? Run away again? I'm not running. I'm being realistic. People like me don't get happy endings. That's because you won't let yourself have one. Janelle's voice rose. Sarah told you to live. I'm trying to help you live. But you keep choosing to be dead. Don't bring Sarah into this. Why not? She's the reason you're like this, and she'd hate it. She'd hate what you've become. A ghost hiding in a big empty house, too scared to feel anything. Ethan's face went hard. Get out. Fine. Janelle turned to leave. At the door, she stopped. I believed in you. I thought you could change. But I was wrong. You're going to die alone in this house, surrounded by memories and regrets, and you'll have nobody to blame but yourself. She left before he could respond, went upstairs, and started packing. Again, Maya cried. Mrs. Rowe tried to talk her out of it, but Janelle was done. Done hoping, done fighting, done believing that broken people could heal. She sent Ethan one final text. I believed in you. I hope you believe in something again. Then she turned off her phone and carried her bags to the car. Ethan sat in his study for hours after Janelle left, not moving, not thinking, just empty. The words from the article swirled in his head. The photos, the accusations, all of it designed to hurt, to destroy, and it was working. Thomas called. Ethan let it go to voicemail. He listened to the message later. I did this for you, to protect you from making a mistake. That woman was using you, and you were too blind to see it. You'll thank me eventually. Ethan deleted the message. Then he called his lawyer. I want Thomas Hale fired from all my accounts. Every contract, every connection. Cut him off completely. That's pretty extreme, Ethan. What happened? He leaked private information to the press, hurt people I care about. That's unforgivable. After the call, Ethan stood and walked to Sarah's studio, the room they'd transformed together. Maya's drawings were on the walls. Mrs. Rowe's knitting sat on a chair. Janelle's presence was everywhere. In the organization, the warmth, the life. He found a box in the corner. Inside were old videos, home movies from before Sarah got sick. He hadn't watched them in 20 years. Couldn't bear to. But now he pulled out his laptop and played one. Sarah appeared on screen, laughing, young and healthy and so alive. She was talking directly to the camera, to him. If you're watching this after I'm gone, she said, then you're probably a mess. I know you, Ethan. You're going to blame yourself, going to hide. But I need you to promise me something. Promise you'll live, really live, not just exist. Find joy, find love. Let yourself be happy. Because if you don't, then what was the point? If you spend the rest of your life mourning me, then we both lose, so please, live for both of us." The video ended. Ethan sat in the dark, tears streaming down his face. Live for both of us. That's what Janelle had been trying to tell him. That's what Maya's laughter and Mrs. Rowe's teasing and every moment in this house had been showing him. Life wasn't over. He was still here, still breathing, still capable of feeling. He'd wasted 20 years, but he didn't have to waste the rest. Ethan stood up, made a decision. For the first time in 2 decades, he knew exactly what he needed to do. The charity event was held at the same hotel where everything started, the Grand Coastal, full of rich people in expensive clothes, raising money for medical research. Ethan hadn't planned to attend, hadn't been to a public event in years, but the foundation was his mother's project, and what he needed to do required an audience. He walked into the ballroom in a simple black suit. People stared, whispered. Everyone had seen the article. Everyone knew the scandal. His mother met him at the entrance. She was on a cane, but steady, strong. "You came," she said. "I need to do something. Something I should have done years ago." "What?" "Stand up." The event organizer looked panicked when Ethan approached and asked to speak. "Mr. Rowe, that's not on the schedule. I'm the largest donor. I'm speaking." 5 minutes later, he stood on stage with a microphone. Hundreds of faces looked up at him. He could feel his heart racing, his hands sweating, but he thought of Sarah, thought of Janelle walking away, thought of Maya's sad eyes as they left. He couldn't be silent anymore. "Most of you know who I am," Ethan began. His voice was quiet but steady. "Ethan Rowe, the reclusive millionaire, the tragic figure, the man who disappeared after his fiancée died 20 years ago." The room was dead silent. "You've all read the articles, seen the photos, heard the gossip about me and Janelle Carter, and I'm here to tell you the truth." He took a breath. "Janelle didn't manipulate me, didn't use her daughter to get to my money. What she did was much worse. She saw me, really saw me, saw past the money and the tragedy to the broken man underneath. And instead of walking away, she stayed. She brought light and laughter into my house. Her daughter taught me how to smile again. She reminded me what it means to be human." Someone in the crowd coughed. Ethan kept going. "I was a coward. When things got complicated, when I got scared, I pushed her away, just like I've been pushing everyone away for 20 years. Because it's easier to be alone than to risk being hurt, easier to exist than to live." His voice cracked slightly. He didn't care. "But my fiancée, Sarah, she told me before she died to live, to really live, and for 20 years, I ignored her, until Janelle burst through a bathroom door and accidentally crashed into my life." A few people laughed. Ethan smiled. "Janelle Carter is a good person, a great mother, a talented nurse's aide. She works harder than anyone I know, and she deserves better than the lies being spread about her. So I'm here to set the record straight. She did nothing wrong. She helped my mother recover from surgery. She brought joy to a house that had known nothing but sadness for decades, and she tried to help a broken man remember how to feel." He paused, looked directly at the crowd. "I didn't touch a woman for 20 years. Not a handshake, not a hug, nothing. I locked myself away from the world because I was afraid. But Janelle taught me that fear isn't living, it's just waiting to die." His words echoed in the silent room. "So if you want to gossip about someone, gossip about me, about the coward who wasted 20 years, but leave Janelle alone. She's a better person than any of us, including me." He set down the microphone and walked off stage. The crowd erupted, some clapping, some talking, all of them staring. Ethan didn't care. He'd done what he needed to do. Now, he just had to hope it was enough. Janelle saw the video 2 hours later. She was sitting in her apartment trying to figure out how to pay next month's rent when Sophie burst through the door. "You have to see this. Right now." Sophie shoved her phone in Janelle's face. A video played. Ethan on stage, speaking to a crowd of hundreds. Janelle watched the whole thing, tears streaming down her face. "He stood up for you," Sophie whispered, "in front of everyone. I can't believe he did that." "Believe it. It's going viral. Everyone's seeing it. The original article has been taken down. The hotel's already called. They want you back." "They do?" "Yeah. Turns out being defended by a millionaire on camera is good publicity." Janelle laughed through her tears. "I don't care about the job." "Then what do you care about?" She looked at Maya playing with her dolls in the corner, then at the video frozen on Ethan's face. "I care about him, about that sad, broken man who finally found the courage to speak." "So what are you going to do about it?" Janelle knew what she had to do, what she'd known deep down all along. I'm going to bring my daughter, and we're going to go get our family back. It was raining when Janelle pulled up to the estate that evening. The sky was dark. Thunder rumbled in the distance. She parked and looked at Maya in the back seat. You ready, baby? Are we staying this time? I hope so. They ran through the rain to the front door. Before Janelle could knock, it opened. Ethan stood there soaking wet, like he'd been standing outside waiting. You came, he said. You gave a speech, in public, for me. I should have done it sooner. Should have done a lot of things sooner. Rain poured down around them. Janelle didn't care. Why did you do it? Because you were right. About everything. I've been dying for 20 years, but you and Maya, you brought me back to life, and I was too scared to admit it. Too scared to risk being hurt again. He stepped closer. But I'm done being scared. Done hiding. I want to live. With you. If you'll have me. Janelle's heart was pounding. Ethan, can we keep him now? Maya's voice piped up from behind Janelle. Please? I like him. And the house. And Grandma Rowe. Janelle and Ethan both laughed. Real, genuine laughter that felt like sunshine breaking through clouds. What do you say? Ethan asked. Can I be part of your family? Janelle looked at this man. This broken, beautiful, brave man who'd finally found the courage to step into the light. Yeah, she said softly. I think you can. She stepped into his arms. For the first time, Ethan held someone. Really held them. And it didn't hurt. It didn't scare him. It felt like coming home. Maya squeezed between them, wrapping her small arms around both their legs. Group hug. They stood there in the rain, the three of them holding each other. Inside, Mrs. Rowe watched from the window, smiling. Everything was going to be okay. Finally, after 20 years, everything was going to be okay. 3 months later, the art studio was finished. They'd kept Sarah's sculptures, displayed properly now, but they'd added new things too. Maya's drawings, art supplies, comfortable furniture, windows that opened to let in the ocean breeze. The room was alive again, full of color and laughter and possibility. Mrs. Rowe held therapy sessions there now, art therapy with other recovery patients. The house that had been silent for so long was filled with voices. Ethan stood in the doorway, watching Janelle help an elderly man with his painting. She was patient, kind, everything she'd been with him from the very beginning. She's amazing, Mrs. Rowe said, coming to stand beside him. She is. You love her. It wasn't a question. Ethan nodded. Yeah, I do. Have you told her? Not yet. I'm still learning how to do this, how to be with someone. His mother patted his arm. You're doing fine, sweetheart. Better than fine. You're living, finally. She was right. He was living, waking up happy, looking forward to things, feeling joy and fear and hope and all the messy, complicated emotions that came with being human. It was terrifying, but it was also beautiful. That evening, Ethan asked Janelle to walk with him in the garden. Maya was inside with Mrs. Rowe making cookies. I want to show you something, Ethan said. He led her to a corner of the garden that had been overgrown. Now it was cleared, fresh soil, ready for planting. I thought we could plant flowers here, he said. The three of us. Make something beautiful together. Janelle smiled. I'd like that. They stood in the fading sunlight looking at the empty garden space, full of potential, full of promise. Thank you, Ethan said quietly, for not giving up on me, for crashing into that bathroom, for bringing life back into this house. Thank you for letting us in, for being brave enough to try. He reached for her hand. No hesitation this time, just the simple comfort of touch. I love you, Ethan said. The words came easier than he expected. Natural, true. I know it's only been a few months. I know we're still figuring this out, but I love you, both of you. You're my family now. Janelle's eyes filled with tears, happy tears. I love you too. We both do. Mommy! Mr. Ethan! Maya's voice called from the house. Cookies are ready. They walked back together, hand in hand. Inside, warmth and light spilled from every window, the smell of fresh cookies, the sound of laughter. Home. This was home now. Not just a house, not just a place, but a feeling, a belonging. Ethan looked at Janelle and Maya, at his mother smiling in the kitchen, at this life he'd thought he'd never have. 20 years. He'd spent 20 years frozen in grief. But grief wasn't meant to be permanent. It was meant to be felt, honored, and eventually released. Sarah would be proud of him. He knew that now. She wouldn't want him to spend forever mourning. She'd want exactly this. Life, love, second chances. Maya grabbed his hand. "Come on, the cookies are getting cold." Ethan let himself be pulled inside, let himself be part of this loud, messy, beautiful family. He was finally living, and it was everything he never knew he needed. 6 months after that, on a clear spring morning, they planted the garden together. Janelle dug holes while Maya carefully placed flowers. Ethan added soil and water. Mrs. Rowe supervised from a comfortable chair, offering advice and encouragement. "That one needs more water," she called. "I'm doing it, Grandma," Maya said. The title had stuck. Maya called Mrs. Rowe Grandma now, and the older woman loved it. "Looking good," Ethan said, stepping back to admire their work. Rows of colorful flowers, roses, daisies, tulips, each one a burst of life and color. "It's beautiful," Janelle agreed. Maya ran to the hose to refill the watering can. Ethan and Janelle stood close, their shoulders touching. "I was thinking," Ethan said carefully, "maybe it's time to make this permanent." "Make what permanent?" He turned to face her, pulled a small box from his pocket. Janelle's breath caught. "Marry me," he said simply. "Not because you need stability, not because I need someone to fix me, but because I love you, because you and Maya are my family, because I want to wake up next to you for the rest of my life." Janelle opened the box, a simple ring. Beautiful, perfect. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes, of course, yes." Ethan slipped the ring on her finger. Then he kissed her, soft and gentle and full of promise. "Finally," Mrs. Rowe called. "I thought you'd never ask." Maya came running back. "What happened? What did I miss?" "Your mom and I are getting married," Ethan said. Maya squealed and launched herself at them. "We're really a family now." "We've been a family," Janelle said. "This just makes it official." They held each other there in the garden, surrounded by flowers and sunshine and love. Later that night, after Maya was asleep, Ethan and Janelle stood on the deck, watching the waves. "Thank you," he said quietly, "for crashing into my life." Literally. Janelle laughed. "Best mistake I ever made. Mine too." They stood in comfortable silence. The ocean stretched endlessly before them. The house glowed warm behind them. Everything felt right, balanced, whole. Ethan thought about Sarah, remembered her last words, "Live for both of us." He was doing that now, living fully, loving deeply, no longer afraid of the pain that might come, because the joy was worth it, the love was worth it. "What are you thinking about?" Janelle asked. "How lucky I am. How different my life could have been if you hadn't walked through that door." "Funny, I was thinking the same thing. We're both pretty lucky then." "Yeah, we really are." Maya's voice drifted from inside the house. "Mommy, can we have pancakes in the morning?" Janelle smiled. "Better go answer that before she comes looking." But Ethan caught her hand, pulled her back for one more kiss. Soft, sweet, full of all the tomorrows they'd have together. "Pancakes sound perfect," he said. They walked inside together, into the light, into the warmth, into the life they'd built from broken pieces and second chances. The door closed behind them, and in the garden, the flowers they'd planted swayed gently in the evening breeze, growing, blooming, alive, just like the people who'd planted them.